Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. It's the beginning of June. I hope you're all enjoying your summer. I always reflect back about this time of year every year because when the first week of June comes around, I want to give you some perspective on this. I started working for Delta Airlines on June 3rd of 1991. June 3rd. That's a very important day in my life, my family, my history, everything has come about in effect because of my hiring by Delta Airlines to be a sheet metal mechanic for them. And so, shout out to Delta Airlines for giving me that opportunity many, many years ago. I guess that would be, 34 years ago now? I think is what it is. Of course, I'm not there anymore. We all know that. But without them hiring some young guy who grew up working in a junkyard, but had the skills they were looking for, I wouldn't be where I'm at all today. So shout out to Delta Airlines. This chat tonight, we're going to have a few different things to talk about. I just realized that StreamYard has again updated their format. So it's kind of throwing me off just a little bit because my picture album that I have that I've kept on here for a while is now in a different format. And I don't know if it's something, I don't think, no, it's anything I did. Let me see if I can change that because, oh, now I lost it. Okay, so I wanted to update with some pictures, but it's oh wow, this is this is completely different now. So I'm going to try to get some pictures up here in a minute, if I can. But I'm just I have to say I am happy that I was given the opportunity. Boy, they really messed this up. I haven't looked at this. That I was given the opportunity to be an employee for Delta Airlines and live in Georgia as a result. So, all know that I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I have really no interest in. I say that I have no interest in moving back there. We like to visit, and we get there and we enjoy ourselves, and we think about it. And we're like, I think I like Georgia. So I'm going to show you some pictures as we move along here. But if you're new to my live stream, we do this on Monday nights at 7 o'clock, and we talk about cars 90% of the time. Sometimes we go off on different tangents. Maybe it's food or movie or something like that. But the focus is on cars. Now, the idea is that I talk about the cars, and we try to share information. And if somebody has a question, I encourage them to be involved. Ask questions about your classic car. Now, the classic car, my bracket of time is 1955 to about 1980. It's maybe different for other people, but that's what I consider my bracket. I'm Gen X. That's the cars that I know from my experience with the junkyard and the life that I lived in that time period. So, if you have any questions, by all means, bring it up. Or if you have any ideas or anything like that, I encourage you to be involved. We have shared a lot of information on here. We have helped out a bunch of people who've had a variety of problems. We've helped them and get them straightened out. And so that's why I keep doing this. I want people to be informed and try to get some knowledge out of what we as a collective have to offer. So, with that said, I'm going to go to my check-ins. First one is Dave Tyson. So, welcome, Dave. First Dave sighting. Glad you're here. Then we have Rick Stevenson. Rick is my coffee specialist. So when he shows up, I drink some coffee. Thank you, Rick. Always a good thing. Hope all is well. I'm not sure where you're at this week. I know you travel a lot, but I'm glad you're checking in. Rick Gain, the years are passing more quickly as I get older. Looking forward to some good car talk. Like and comment with a thumbs up for Barry. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. And we may have somebody else on tonight, just letting you know ahead of time. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. It's great to be in your garage again. Yeah, you know what? I like being in my garage, and I'm glad you're here. This is my happy place, as everybody has their place they like to be. So this is it for me. Terry Heathley, good warm evening, everyone. Please hit the thumbs up and like button for Barry. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Thank you to all. Glad you're here. Dave Britton. Hey, everybody. Hope all is well. Hey, Dave. Welcome. Jiggy JC. Getting jiggy with it. Hi, all. Hi, Jiggy. Robert is checking in. The Infernal Craftsman. Hot. Evening all. Hot and muggy here. Yeah. Yeah. I know you're in Texas and you get to enjoy extended heat season. Glad you're here, Robert. And I'm probably going to send Robert an invite in a little bit and get him out here. I know he's been excitedly working on his Mustang project and probably has something he could share with us. Hindsight 6'7", Roger. Greetings from next door. Greetings, Raj. Hope all is well. David, the bowler hat guy. Good evening, Barry. Hello, all. Glad you're here. Rusty's Restoration, hello, Barry, and all from Southern Indiana. Give a thumbs up, everyone. Yes. That's important on all my videos. Everything's going on. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when I talk about all this stuff. My footprint on YouTube feels like it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I did a video a few weeks ago for Yes Welder, and this really baffles me because Yes Welder provided me with the machine, for making the video, and I did all that. And if you look at my videos, that video has probably close to 200,000 views on it. Now, normally, if I had any video that was generating 200,000 views, there would also be revenue associated with that. And I don't know exactly what's going on. Let's just say, I'm just going to throw some numbers out here. If you had a video with 200,000 views over its lifetime, it might make $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, depending on what it is. And I have this video on there that I made for Yes Welder. Now, maybe they're promoting it or showing it, and it's only getting, it's getting a view, but not like a long view. Regardless, that video has like 200,000 views, and my revenue on that is $20. It's really confusing, disheartening, but it is what it is. So I got my welder that from them, so that's my compensation overall. So I'm not complaining, but I see those numbers and I'm like, what's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. All right. I struggle every time with your name, Gerard Peters. Hey, Barry, or as you say, hey, gang. Yes. And, let me give you a little information on that. If I haven't already talked about this, I've been on YouTube for a long time, a pretty long time. I mean, like since 2000, technically since like 2009 or something. And there was a group of us, the early garage people, and they were considered the garage gang is what it became. And when I started making videos, I was kind of invited into that bracket of terminology. Yeah, you're part of the garage gang now. And so when I started making videos, that's what I would say. And it was really in reference to those other guys who were making videos for YouTube and, trying to get them a little shout out. And I'd say, hey, gang, So that's just become my catchphrase. It's just what it is. So now everybody is part of the Joe Daddy's Garage Gang. That's what that all means. So now you have some background. Steve Reed, hello, Barry, and everyone. Don't forget to give Barry a thumbs up. Yes. On all the videos, everything. Mark, Black GTX, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mark. Glad you're here. Travis Holtman, my highly ranked patron. Thank you for being here, Travis. I appreciate you. Jeff Norris, Net. Hey Barry, I hope all is well, my friend. Glad you're here, Jeff. I hope you're making headway on your fastback project. Tim Miller, hello. Hi everyone, on time. Oh, nice. Glad you're here, Tim. Steve Reed, Cobra Jet's looking great. Yeah, it is. It is. I am very excited about it. I've been working on prepping the other pieces that I want to redo. Like I'm going to do the quarter extensions. I'm going to redo the front valance. And I think I'm even going to respray the side vents that I have sitting up here. I'm just not happy with, now the finish on the car is looking really good. And the color is looking really good. These other pieces aren't going to look really good. So I'm prepping that stuff and I'm going to respray them. Shouldn't be that big a deal. I'm going to redo the mirrors too. Just want everything to be as right as I can get it. So thank you, Steve. Amateur Hour Restorations, evening all. Evening. Glad you're here. Dave Conville, checking in from New Jersey. Good evening all. Good evening, Dave. TJ, I'm here. 19D Cavalry Scout, U.S. Army retired, East Dublin, Georgia. Glad to hear, TJ. And thank you for your service. Tim Miller made a sanding block billy stick 1 by 3/8 by 8 longwood stick. It finds the low spots like nothing. Okay. That's nice. Excellent. Robert, YouTube does like interaction regardless of good or bad. Yeah. Derek Pro, hi Barry, everyone. Hope all's well. Cold and wet here. Not a great day for being in the shed. So Derek is down in Australia where he is enjoying the winter months now. So I'm not jealous, Derek. I'm not jealous. Glad you're here. Rusty's Restoration. I got my 65 out for its maiden voyage to a car show last Saturday. I sent a picture. Okay. I'll have to pull that up. So I'm going to get one of those pictures, probably just one at this point. We'll show that in a minute. Well, let me see if I can figure out how to get that here, because this has really changed the format on me. Okay, here we go. So there's Rusty's car. Awesome. Let me pull down the comment just so you can see it. Yeah, it looks really nice. Very, very nice. I'm sure you got some looks on that. So, good for you. Richard, can you tell us what sanding blocks you use? I'm really impressed with how laser straight Slither is. I use Durablocks. Now, I probably have Amazon links on my Amazon page, but I can tell you they're Durablocks is the name, right? And I have. Give me a second. Let me go grab one. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to grab one of these. Well, I'll grab a couple of those. So when I use these Durablocks, you can get a kit that'll have multiples in it, or you can get singles, right? So this is the primary Durablock that I use for the long flat sections, right? This is the same length as a standard sanding piece of paper. So, you fold it around it, hold it with your fingers, and do all your magic with it. This is pretty rigid. Like, I can bend it a little bit. And you don't really want to bend this. This is meant to stay as straight as you can get it. So this is what I use primarily. Now, all the other blocks are in the paint booth. I'm not going to go grab those. So I have this one, then I have a 1-inch diameter, and you see me go into the radiuses with that block a lot. And then I have a short, thinner block. It's about half this length, and it's maybe that thick. And it's a rigid block too, but it helps me get into tighter spaces. And then I have a soft, like a finishing block, like a McGuire's waxing type block that I use. Now, Durablock has a bunch of things they offer. They also offer, if you look at this is a hook and loop one. So you can Velcro something. Like you can take a sanding or a DA pad if you wanted to and put on this, and you can use it as just like you use that big one, but it's got the hook and Velcro thing. So I don't use this very often, but that is an option. And then one of the other ones that's really cool is the taco block. Okay. This is a hook and loop thing, and it's basically the same shape. I probably don't have any laying here. As your sanding paper, like your DA paper. So you fold it around it, so you can see that, right? And then it gets you nice, tight corners you can get into. This is just maybe a tick over a 1/4 inch thick. So this one is very handy as well. So Durablock, if you look, you'll see my Amazon page probably has them all listed there somewhere. But anyway, that's what I use primarily. So great question. Thank you for that. Gig'em Garage, good evening. Kevin Barth here. Well, welcome, Kevin. Glad you're here. Derek, Project 65 coming along slowly. Paint stripping to bare metal. Epoxy primer sanding, test fits, etc. Fun. Can't wait till paint stage. That's awesome. And I don't want to paint. I'll let you paint it. Unless I can get a flight down and maybe I can help you with it. But Gerard, you can start with Mr. Peters. That's what others do when they can't pronounce my name. Yeah. Well, I think I'm pretty close. We've said it before. The problem is I get it right, and then by the next week I sleep a few times, and I don't process it very well. So I'm still saying Gerhard, right? Gerhard. Gerhard. That's what I'm saying. Mr. Peters. Nathan Murdoch, your videos have helped me a bunch. Thank you. Awesome. You know, my latest videos, if you haven't seen this already, I think this one does too. There's a tip jar, a new thing that I've added. It's a tip jar that I've added. It's a link to PayPal. If you feel like you want to make a donation, donations are accepted. But glad you're here, Nathan. I don't know if I gave you a bell. Wait, get an extra one. So, Tim Miller Industrial PPG epoxy primer is high fill is good stuff. 2 gallons for $200. Wow. Okay, that's good to know. Hey, Matco man. Hello. Oh, we got a good bell. Tim Miller says, what color? Are you asking on the 65? On this car? We'll have to get Rusty to tell us. I don't remember if that's what you're asking about, I guess. So we'll let him answer that one. Bowler hat guy, David, wow, that's a beautiful car. I agree. Derek Pro, very nice. Rusty my interior, same color. Hanging to finish the bodywork. Yeah. TJ, Barry, the exhaust system you got for CJ Pony, what's it for? I know you weren't too happy with the condition you received it in. Yeah. You know, that's something else I want to talk about. Since I actually downloaded some pictures. So the 68 project, right? It's going to get the Coyote in it, all the other suspension stuff, whatever. I've been, getting parts. He's been sending me parts for this. So that's what the exhaust is for. So here is what I received today. And that box is meant to be a rectangle. It's not meant to be at any point round. And FedEx, FedEx likes to beat stuff up. They like to punt, I don't know. They must have some sort of a sadistic thing that they just can't handle a box correctly. So that is the MagnaFlow system. And so here is the items out, or the box when I opened it up. MagnaFlow packed this stuff and put foam, put the plastic in with the foam, spray foam that kind of secures everything. And so that, I mean, MagnaFlow put it together and, got it right, as far as packaging goes. And then this is what's in the box. So basically, there are two mufflers. There is a crossover in the center. There's a lead-in pipe for the headers on the front. Then there's two transitions that go over the differential. And then I guess it's two different sets of exhaust pipes. So if you wanted to put turn downs, you could have those, or you could have the straight back. Also in the center, I don't have it highlighted very well, but there's 8 clamps and some hangers. And apparently it's missing some nuts and washers, excuse me, from this kit. So I just had a hiccup there. That's what that kit is for. So we're, I think if I have to, I can get some bolts or whatever and make it work. But that's what that kit is for. Dave Britton just used Barry's link. The kit for Durablock is on Amazon. The link was too big for me to post. Okay, thank you, Dave. Derek Pro, those blocks are awesome. Makes it so much easier, better method than how we did it years ago, and great results. Yes, I agree. Gerhard, yes, you got it. Thank you. Rusty, it's original. Oh, that car was originally Twilight Turquoise. This was a custom mix. It looks blue, but in the sun turns turquoise. So that was this car. That's sharp. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to, if I can, I've got a couple other pictures I want to download. Hold on a second. Oh, wait a minute. I'm messing up here. I've got a couple other pictures that I'm going to download, but I have to send this email first. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Now we're back. Now, Gerhard, I'm curious to know how you go about charging your customers for the work you do, like when you're painting the Cobra Jet twice. That's a good question. Now, here's how that works. For the Cobra Jet, we had an agreed upon price. Like I said, I'll do it for this number. Okay. The rest of it is on me. So if I make a mistake and I have to redo something, that's my cost. I can't charge somebody for that. It's on me to make things right. So whenever the original plan for that car, like, let me back up a step. I've talked about this before. I have a counter right here, this little timer, and when I'm doing regular work, I hit the go button. Okay. And I'm working on a car, doing my thing, staying busy. I stop, take a break. The clock stops. I don't charge anybody for me to sit here and take a break or to go to lunch or to walk my dog or check my mail or go to the store. I don't charge. That's not how I work. So when I come back from my break, I reset the clock or restart the clock. At the end of the day, I write down however many hours I've accumulated. And that's how I do it for these type of projects. Now, on the paint process for the Cobra Jet, she had tried to find somebody who could paint that vehicle, and it became kind of a struggle. Let's put it that way. And I understand where people are coming from. So I was tasked with putting this car into primer, getting it ready to go, ready for paint, and then it was going to get painted by hopefully somebody else. And the problem with that is, and I understand this completely, if somebody takes my project, my paint that I've done, my primer, whatever, they have no idea what I've actually put on there. They don't know what kind of body work I've done. They don't know what kind of primer I've used. They can't trust anything. Even if I have videos on it, they're going to say, well, he could have done this, he could have done that. So when they take a project like that, they're going to strip it all back down and start over. And that's to protect them long term. So I get it. The problem too is I've already done all that work, and when somebody else wants to start over, now they're going to have to you're going to have to pay for that again in the process. So she was really having a hard time finding somebody who was willing to paint it. And as y'all know, I can paint. I just don't. It's not my thing. I don't look forward to it, but I can. So I agreed to a number with her, and that would include, the materials, labor, whatever, and that's it. I'm not going to go above whatever that number is, right? So a typical paint job, any company, any shop is going to charge you $10,000 to start. That's the fact. I mean, that's just the fact. So I'm not. That's my minimum for what I'm doing, but I also have set a ceiling that I'm not going to go over. And so anytime if I make a mistake and I have to remedy that, it's on me. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I made a mistake. You're going to have to pay for the materials again for me to fix it. Nope, ain't happening. It's on me. So I take care of that, and that's part of being a responsible for my actions and what I do. So that's where I'm at, and that's where it's going to end up, going forward. I don't make anybody pay for my mistakes. So good question. Thank you for asking. Gerard says, yes, love the white interior. Would love to see more pictures of the interior. I have one more picture that he sent me. I don't know if it's a good. I could maybe be able to pull that up. Let me see if I can add that. I'm limited as to how many pictures I can have on my thing here. Oh yeah, it says I'm full. So hold on a second. I have to get rid of something. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. So I have one more. I can show you the one interior shot that I have, and that's that. And it does look really good. It's a great offset. Nicely done. Okay. Black GTX. Mark, nice job, Rusty. Yep, I agree. And they have Michael Pagliarini, evening all late to the party. That's all right. Glad you're here. Daryl Horvath. Hey, Barry, been a few weeks away due to my ill dad, so I'm taking a night to unwind with my car friends. Awesome. Sorry to hear about your dad. Hope that he recovers and you're all good to go. Rich Watley. Hey, Barry, I've been swamped lately with work, kids, and projects. Hope to catch up now on your new videos this week. Appreciate the content and knowledge that you continue to share. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate you. Tim Miller, get Mayock. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Steve Reed, by the way, my left eye operation went great and see 10 times better now. And they're doing the right eye on the 9th of this month. So you had the cataract surgery. Good. Good. And not wearing glasses, even better. All right, one more. Dave Britton, has anyone heard that they found another car from the Bullet movie? It was believed to be crushed, but it was found in Mexico. That car's been around a while. The one, it's the second car. There was some big write-ups on that one. Basically, they found a VIN number is what it comes down to on that car. They ended up rebuilding it, and then it's not nearly to me as much credit as the car they have right now. So, but yeah, I'd heard about that. Okay, we're going to get Robert on, and Robert is going to show us his garage. There he is.
Hey guys. Well, if you lose me, that's because this is the end of this laptop tonight. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So it's
It's
chugging
done.
along.
It's well, I found a lot of the problems with it was it doesn't do fast enough download and upload over Wi-Fi anyway because it's too old.
Yeah.
And so I've got it plugged in right now, and it's kind of working. And yeah, the hard drive, the SSD's coming out of it, and it's done.
Well, you know, you
So yeah,
also probably got to get one of the little, if you wanted to, the little Logitech cam. Yeah,
and
you're
there
already frozen.
it went.
It may not be able to. Oh, there you are.
Well, grinding dust might have something to do with it too.
Well, you know, surprisingly enough, I'm amazed that this laptop I have out here continues to chug away. Occasionally, the fan does something weird, and it's like loud, and it starts vibrating, and then I smack
Yeah.
it, and hey, it's working again.
Yeah, well, I've got it plugged into the cable going to the house, and it was like, and it went off. It's never been plugged into Ethernet until this day, ever.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, it's always been wireless, and wireless was like only like 5 megabits going up on it, and it was like, okay, yeah, there's the problem. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I had to put the Ethernet cable on this. I
yeah,
ran I ran two of them out here, if you remember.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I've got to dig a ditch and run pipe and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, fun.
Yeah,
Let's see here. 67 Mustang Coupe Restoration. When this project is all done, Coyote installed, prettied up inside and out, and driving down the road, how much do you think it might be worth? Just curious. That's a tough question to answer. It really is. Um,
yeah.
you can look up these cars from Revology. You can look up, there's other builders out there. And, you know, they're doing these cars and selling them for 150, $250,000. So I don't know. I mean, if everything goes smoothly and it turns out the way I expect it to, it could definitely be in that bracket, but I can't say for sure. I don't know.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
try something real quick.
Okay. You want me to pull you down?
Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna let Robert fiddle with his uh, laptop. So anyway, that's the answer that I can give you based on what I've seen other similar builds going for. Right. So that's all I have to go by. And of course, the market is what people make it. You know, they just if people can afford it, they'll buy it. You know what I mean? So Tim Miller rejected Holly carburetor going down its sizes to come 64s now 61s are Mako cheap spraying. Okay. Okay. Uh, all right. Steve Reed says hello to Robert. So we're going to get back here in just a second. Derek Pro, hi Robert. Hope you're doing well. Let me see. Are you back, Robert? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. I'm going to try this again.
Don't expect much though.
Okay. Well, hey, you're here.
Yeah, I'm doing a little better. My back has been feeling a little bit better lately, but that's a big part of that's one of the reasons I am as slow at getting things done as I am.
Yeah. Well, that's
And it's like,
understandable.
I get and I want to do stuff, and it's just like it takes too long for the ibuprofen to kick in and do something, and to the point then it's like it's too late.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Oh, yeah. Michael, is the tail panel held on by sheet metal screws or is it welded in place on a 65? It's held in place with sheet metal screws
Hmm.
and little posts on the end that go up into the quarter panel. You can go back and look at probably Mystique, um, the
Brooklyn, the
Brooklyn
car that
Pony.
should not be named. Yes.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Pony. Any of those are going to have that information on there. So, yeah. Yeah.
I think the Brooklyn Pony one probably had one of the better videos on that though, because I
Yeah,
think that
because I
was the one
showed
you
the
did like
differences.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Go back to that car and see if you can find it. But I should have. I know I have videos on. If you search rear valance on my channel, it should pop up. So yeah, wood screws and duct tape. Matco, it is what people will pay. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's exactly
Well,
right.
and it's like when you were selling yours, and I did a little research, and I'm looking at it, it's like, and there's prices all over the place. I mean, it's just like how do you know what it's worth? I don't know because I see ones that are really really nice going for X. I see ones that are a real piece of junk going for nearly what that nice one is, and I'm like, there's no, there's nothing consistent across the pricing of them at all when you're looking at them, and nothing makes sense. Like, okay, the junk ones are at this end, and the really nice ones are at this end because they're all over the place.
Right.
I've seen some pretty nice ones that are. I've seen a lot of really nice cars that are. Oh, it's only a few thousand, 2 or 3 thousand more than this. Essentially, a parts car.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it's hard to justify one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can say, well, you should get this much out of your car. Well, that's great,
Mm-hmm.
but how long do I have to figure out or wait till somebody is willing to do that?
And yeah,
Um,
and but it's like anything else. It's like where do I go to find the customers that that I'd be looking for? I don't know.
right. Well, even to the point with the my selling jade, right? Um, I had really no expectations. I mean, ideally I wanted the previous owner to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the previous owners. I wanted them to
Mm-hmm.
have it back, but it wasn't going to happen. And so I did not say I'm not going to sell it to you, or I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm not going to sell it to you. I can't. You can't do that. You can't put yourself in a box
Mm-hmm.
and say I'm not going to do it because I don't want to.
Yeah.
If somebody has the money and they're willing to spend it, that's fine. The kicker is, as we all know, once it's out of your hands and somebody decides, hey, I want to do something to it. I want to change this. I
Mm-hmm.
want to change that. I don't. I can't get upset about it. I know
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I put tons of effort into that car to try to
Mm-hmm.
make it close, at least in appearance to original, and all
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. And like this guy's putting a 5 speed in it. He's putting in fuel
Mm-hmm.
injection. He's putting in a different rear end. Um, I I can't. I don't have a problem with that. You know.
Well, yeah, I'm the same way. It's like it's like everybody complains about they're building houses on this piece of property over here, and there used to be a farm, and they say, well, they shouldn't do that. So you could have bought it, so they couldn't have done that, but you didn't do that, so you really,
Right.
you
Well,
don't,
it's even
you have no
to
say.
that point of, as I mentioned before, the junkyard. Once I get out of our hands,
Hmm.
um, whoever owned it, they which is a mining company,
Hmm.
they they decided to tear it all down. And so I can it's gonna I'll be upset about it when I go see it
Yeah,
to know that it's gone. But also I can't say my life is ruined now.
yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. You can't dwell on that stuff, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
true with everything.
Well, exactly. It's like, on a car or whatever, it's like, the point of selling it is to exchange it for money, and it's somebody else's now. It's not yours. If,
Right,
if you're worried about what they're going to do with it, don't sell it.
right, exactly. And that's to that end, what I'm going to use money I made off of that to fund my Mach 1 project.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, we all have bills, and we all have mortgages, and we all have everything else that's involved with the life. But you can't just borrow, 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 borrow. If you have a resource that you can use
Hmm.
to help this, that's what I'm going to do. So
Hmm.
that's how I feel about it. So,
Yep.
Matt Command says needs more tequila. Okay. Tim Miller, there's Mako is a big paint, very like modern Earl Scheib. Oh, okay, yeah, Mako, yes, yeah. It says Marco. I must be your autocorrect. Mako, yes, they're a big paint business, and they can paint. That's one thing that I've heard from many people that they've prepped a car, got it completely ready to go, taken it to Mako, and said, "Here's the paint I want you to use. Here's whatever. I'll prep it, get it ready, and then you spray it." And they'll do it. They'll make it. They'll do it, and because they're good painters, but it's the preparation that they don't get into. It's all that extra effort that goes into the final product. I've seen cars that came to our shop from a Mako where they didn't even tape off the chrome. They just they just painted over everything and scraped out the windshield and scraped out the back window and said, "There you go, we're done." That'll be $75 or whatever it was. Roger says, funny story. Tim, one of my best friends growing up, shoed Earl Scheib's horses. He said he was as cheap as the business reputation. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Turn that shoe over. We can use it on the other foot.
Something I noticed, and I had a video pop up the other day, and this guy was spraying clear. And normally how you spray clear, you're spraying it in a nice even. And I'm watching this guy, and it's just like, and he's like, just like, going back and forth really fast, and basically going so fast that he's misting it on there, which is totally not what I'm used to doing. But I'm sitting there watching it, and it's a really popular channel, and I'm watching this. It's like, it's hard to argue with the results he's getting, because it is. I mean, it's to the point where it's just like he's not having to buff it or anything, and it comes out really smooth. And I'm really impressed with what it was doing. But it's like that's not the way you normally do that.
Right. Was it Paint Society?
It probably was. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just
videos.
flying back and forth with this gun and just misting it.
What I'll say though, the difference is, in my humble opinion, he's not doing these.
True.
He's doing collision jobs. He's doing production style work. So he needs to have it turn out super slick without having to ever touch it again.
Yeah.
And so by doing what he's doing, he's putting on a thin coat of clear coat and letting it settle. And there's not enough there to run. There's not enough there to, So I think that's what he's doing.
And
that effect.
And what I'm watching, it's kind of reminds me, it's like he's replicating those misters that they use in the assembly plants that just they kind of fog it onto the car and put that and that's the complaint about new cars, that there's so little clear coat, there's nothing there to buff.
Right.
If you get a scratch, there's nothing there.
Well, and that's like, I've heard that Hondas, Toyotas, whatever, a lot of the Japanese cars, they have like that much clear coat on them. Like they won't put any more than they have to, and that's why certain like GM, looking at and stuff in the 2000s, 90s, the hoods would all flake off and the roof would flake off. It's because it was a really thin clear coat that they were putting on there, and of course the sun just beats it up. But like my little Honda Fit, the red car that's now pink, it's because the clear coat just is gone. There's nothing there to hold it. So got to put it on pretty, in my opinion, at least 2 good coats, probably 3 to be safe.
Yeah.
Tim Miller, hey buddy, it's spraying. He was moved. Oh, had a buddy spraying. He was moved. It done faster, and he gives them color. Okay. Travis, don't overthink it. It's just paint. Yeah. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that. Also, I watched Kevin Teets. with Paintucation
Oh, okay.
channel,
Okay.
although
I've
he
seen
is
that one.
working on a Camaro. Yeah, I mean, there's some great information out there.
Uh-huh.
I know Paint Society has done a lot of good things. There's another one that I watched. He was a British guy or something, and older gentleman, and he was painting
Hmm.
in and talking about the modeling that we had mentioned before. When you spray and the flake doesn't lay quite right, you end up with this chunky look to it.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's the one that talked about how to address that. And whenever you're spraying and you're off the panel like 8 inches or 8 to 10 inches, whatever, um, he was expressing it with that modeling to double that, like
Hmm.
be 15, 16, and just kind of like fan it around.
I, and I've heard people talk about that, and they'll call it like like setting the flake or something like that is what they some of those guys will call it, and it's like they'll paint it and then they'll back off and basically fog the whole thing, and that way the flake is even across the whole thing, the
Yep,
entire car.
that's exactly what I did on the Cobra Jet. It was, um, I did the base color,
Hmm.
and then I came back and I backed off and just
Hmm.
kind of
Just fog it, yeah.
just fog it over, and it was really it turned out really nice. Richard, hey, Barry, do you have an update on the Toyota transmission? I don't have a specific update because the friend of mine who rebuilds transmissions, he has a 2 week wait at this point. So he's put me on his list, and hopefully I can get the car to him within the next couple weeks because it's just difficult right now to for my son and my daughter-in-law. They're down to, well, they borrowed a vehicle, um, but I was gonna see if I have. Let me see if I have a picture. If this is one of those pictures or not. So yeah, this is a picture from in the transmission pan. And let me back up a step. I talked about it. I think I did. I talked about it on a video where my son and daughter-in-law were driving back from North Carolina,
Hmm.
broke down in
You
South
did,
Carolina,
yeah.
and then I went and recovered the vehicle. So if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's a 2011 Toyota Sienna. I guess it has a CVT transmission, and I pulled the pan off to check the filter and check the fluid, and this is the pan. And if you look right in the center of that screen, there's little bearings that are in the pan, and there was, I think, 8 of them in there. And I pulled that pan, I drained the fluid, and the fluid was just horrible. But I saw those little pieces, and I was like, you know what? This is out of my realm. I don't know anything about this. I know transmissions are made with magic and leprechauns, and that's all I can say. I don't do transmissions, so it's gonna have
Yeah,
to go to my buddy.
yeah, when you see roller bearing droppings in there, it's gone.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what else to do.
And I looked at I just, for the heck of it, I just looked up used ones, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money for a used one that you have no idea,
Yeah,
what how long it's going to last.
yeah. So Travis says he's talking about a flow coat.
Yeah, yep, that's the term I was looking
So,
for.
oh, for the clear.
Yeah, or for no, for setting the flake.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I know a flow coat on, as we talked about with the clear.
Yeah,
Now that I have a better knowledge of it, you can,
and
make the
and, and,
clear
it's, and it's just it's like any other industry. You can talk to half a dozen guys and get 3 dozen different names for the same thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Mark says orientation coat is the flake lays down uniformly. That works too. And Fairlane Central. Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Good to see everyone. Well, welcome,
mhm.
Fairlane Central. Glad you're here. So, Robert, I know you've sent me some pictures, and you've been working
Yeah,
on the
it's a
magical headlight bucket.
Yeah, I've made the executive decision at this point. I'm done adjusting it. It's good enough.
Okay.
It's good enough. I could spend more time doing it. Is it really worth it? No. For all intents and purposes, it's not worth spending any more money, more time on it.
Right. I I understand. And
It's like, I could spend a few more hours and sit there and tweak it and get, and then, when you take it all apart and you put it back together, it's going to go together different anyway.
yeah.
So to get it back, I could take it all, paint it, and probably never get it back together the way I have it right now.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just reality.
Yeah. Now, are you planning on putting filler on the extensions or anything or transitions?
Um, the driver's side one, maybe a little
Yeah.
bit, or I may be able to. I can take a torch and heat it up, and just like I could just, there's a slight little bit, and I could just, I can almost flex it by hand enough to, so if I just put just a tiny bit of heat, I could just flex it right where I want to go. So it's
Yeah.
it's so close that I just want to gently do that,
Okay.
without filler if I can.
Okay.
But
Uh,
I don't like the things.
yeah. Well, and the early cars, it's complicated because you've got the headlight thing, and then you got the outer eyebrow thing, and
Yeah, because, well, you got the fender, you got the eyebrow piece, and you've got this piece in between that. Well, you can't put this on here and then put that, because you got to put this and then adjust this to fit
right.
in between the two, and
Yeah.
it's not a good method of operations the way it was done to get aligned, unless you have perfect alignment pins that just work out perfectly.
Right.
When it's all kind of loosey goosey, it's just not a good method of putting things on, because you put this on, well, you have to go back, take this off to and readjust this to get this to fit, and
Yeah.
you have to go backwards to go forwards so much.
That's why those, like the one that's at NPD, it's just put it together.
Yeah, yeah.
The super low miles one. Speaking of, I don't know what the status is. I had a friend contact me the other day, and she said, "Did they make what year was there really a '64 Mustang or 64 and a half Mustang?" And I said, "Well, there's no,
It
there
depends
is
on how you
no
want to define it.
right. You can say it's you. Everybody will phrase it as a 64 and a half because of production date, but all of
Hmm.
them are 65s. There's no title
Yep.
for 64, so they're all
Yeah.
65s. But I told her the 64 and a half is unique because of a few screw ups that they did that make
Hmm.
that car just terrible. So,
Yeah,
in
it
my
was it
opinion,
was just it was just rushing it into production. It was
right?
just get it done, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah. So, anyway, she let me know that some friends of hers apparently have bought a property somewhere and it's a
Hmm.
barn on it, and they started cleaning out this barn, and it was just they thought there was just a pile of stuff, and they
Hmm.
started pulling off, and they found a 64 and a half Mustang under
Oh,
this
nice.
pile of stuff, and I'm like, interesting.
Was it
I
hidden?
said, let them know I'll haul it off for free.
Yeah.
Now, do I want a 64 and a half? No, I don't want one of those.
I
But
it's probably more parts at this point.
it could be, or it could be that it was parked in 1972 and just sat there. Who knows, right? But I said, let me know if you find out any information. I'd like
Hmm.
to at least see it. So
Yeah.
you never know. I could maybe go do a hey, let's start up this old car type of thing, right? But anyway, so I was kind of surprised. Um, Tim Miller liked to spray my 70 Mach 1 like Barry's Way and PPG and Acapulco Blue. Uh, Flake Silver going to put black sealer as pre-tinting to keep the color deep. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call.
Yep. Yep.
Dave Tyson, I feel your pain, Robert. Yeah. So here's a question by Travis. Barry and Robert, opinions on rolling fenders front and back.
Well, okay. I'll premise that a little bit with now, like these are the aftermarket fenders. They're already rolled the wrong way some to start with. They're not folded up underneath there because originally they would be kind of like this.
Right.
Well, they're like that on
Yeah, they're
these, so
stamped
you
and
have to roll it.
it hangs down. Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't bend them over enough. So it has to be done some anyway. Um,
Well,
outside one of my bad fenders is rolled. I mean, it's rolled a bunch.
okay.
Uh, I don't like when you go so far that it's be like that.
Fold it on
That's kind of
itself.
hard. Say when you start getting like this, you're you lose strength in the fender there from the side.
Yeah.
Because that edge is basically it's like a it's a 90-degree turn there to
Right.
keep that nice and stiff. Well, the more you roll that around, the more strength you're losing, and then that fender can sit here and do this. Somebody leans up against it or something, it can bend in really
Right.
easy. So it's
Now,
something to
I'm going to
keep in
give an
mind with
opinion.
reinforce it.
I'm going to give an opinion. Um, if I had like, it depends on the car. In my the way I look at it, if I have an original car that's never been butchered, never been cut apart, and I would not even consider rolling the fenders.
Yep.
It just doesn't. I can't do that. I couldn't. Um,
Yep.
but if I'm building a car and it's technically not original anymore,
Hmm.
you can. It's not going to matter.
Like
Yeah,
this.
your
Yeah.
car. So like
Yeah.
on my, even though my Mach One is rebuilding the quarter panels and that sort of thing, I would not roll the
I wouldn't do
fenders.
it.
I want to keep them the way they're supposed to look, and that's why I have an original set of front fenders that I would not do that to either. Now, if I'm building something that's going to be raced or something, maybe something like this, and you
Hmm.
want some clearance in there, I don't
Hmm.
have a problem with it. It's not original
Yep.
anymore. It's not
Yeah.
a show car,
Yep.
whatever. I mean, just
Yeah.
I
I'm
put
the
it
same way.
that
Exactly.
perspective. So I don't have a problem with it. Um, Now, I would do it the right way, and what I mean by that is they sell the roller kits where
Hmm.
you put it on the axle
Put the thing.
and
Yeah.
you roll it back and forth, and it gently changes that shape. Some people will shove a baseball bat in there and drive back and forth and just,
Yeah. Well,
and I don't like,
and the
don't care
roller
for that.
also puts it right where it needs to be.
Yeah,
Instead of just randomly bending it. Somebody used to rent those, and you could like rent it and borrow
I
it
have one.
and then send it back.
I have one.
Well, I may need to borrow it one day.
Okay,
May need to borrow that one day.
we may look at that. They're not that expensive. They're
I
really.
yeah, I don't. I remember looking at it one time, and it was not bad for what it
Maybe you could
was.
do a rent, like they sell these on Amazon or something, right? You could. Hey, this doesn't work.
Like the Harbor Freight and Home Depot tool rental. Yeah,
Yeah, lawnmower rentals that
yeah,
Home Depot does. Yeah.
yeah. Buy it in the spring. Use it all season.
Yep.
Return at the end of the year. Yeah.
Rick Gain, I have to look. I think I still have my '66 original headlight buckets and extensions. Guess they are worth looking for. Kept them for my
Yeah.
'66 when I gave it away 25 years ago. That's probably worth hanging on to because
Yeah, on the
somebody needs
five
those.
sixes especially, if you've got factory ones, keep them. But it's like I have two factory ones. They're not the same.
Right.
They are not the same. They are we're talking easily an eighth inch off in size in different directions.
Yeah.
So it's just because you have original ones doesn't mean they're going to fit your
Yeah.
original fenders from another plant or another year. Or you don't know what's going to fit what because there's just no consistency back then.
Yep. Michael says if it's a CVT tranny, you may be better off getting one from Toyota. CVT can be really hit or miss on aftermarket rebuild. I won't touch them anymore. Factory reman only. Yeah, my friend, this is what he does full time. Like every day, he rebuilds transmissions. In fact, a lot of the shops, they'll pull the transmission and just send it to him, and he rebuilds it, and then they take the credit for it. But he has not done one of these transmissions. But he's also very proactive in tech pubs and information, and he's willing to give it a shot. And I'm willing to say, let's see what happens, because You see that or go buy another van.
And the funny thing is about that, and I remember back, this has been 10 years or more ago. A friend of mine had, he'd go through four trucks left and right, and go through the transmissions in four trucks because that's what you did with them. They just ate them for lunch, and it was such a problem that, he was saying, oh, yeah, burn up the transmission again, and he said, yeah, I'm going to go to wherever it is and have them rebuild it. And I was when I looked, and it's like, I told him, it's like, you know, you can just go to the dealer and buy a brand new one for $1,500 with a torque converter.
Yeah.
At the time, and it was like, that's a brand new transmission.
Right.
No point in messing around with the rebuild. Just go buy a brand new one.
Yeah.
He did that, and he was like, oh wow, it lasted longer than anything else did.
Yeah.
And like I said, it wasn't a bad deal for what it was, really.
Dave Britton says that Mustang might be a super low production number or something. You never know. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Yeah. I mean, you just don't know. But I need to get more information on it if I can.
I kind of see the 64.5 is kind of like the 67.
Yeah.
In the respect that it's
mostly a Falcon.
Yep. Yep. And it was transitioning into the Mustang, and then a 67 was, we still held over a few parts from the 66 into it.
Yep.
And it's like somebody mentioned about when I was talking about the steering gear for this, it's like the 67 steering gear doesn't have the long shaft. You get the early one, or the late one, whatever it is. There's the one that, that doesn't have the long shaft, and it has the smaller pitman arm. So you put your same pitman arm. Well, you know what I mean. But it's got the splines are the same size. So
Okay.
your 656 pitman arm goes on there.
Okay.
And that's a possibility that I can do with this versus, cutting the shaft off and just, double D'ing it or something. I don't know what I'll do at that point. Just depends on what condition this steering box is really in and what kind of rebuild it's going to need. It might be cheaper I can just buy a 67 one. I have found a few of them that are either new or rebuilt. So they're rare, but they're not unobtainable.
Yeah. Tim Miller was not a 70 Boss due to 15-inch tires. So he rolled his quarter. Travis, I'm not going really big tires, but I don't want to have cut tires.
Yeah.
And I get that.
I would say if you're going to, like I was saying, my thing is, if you're going to roll them really far, put a reinforcing piece of metal in there just to stiffen it up a little bit.
Well, at least in the front. In the back, you've got the double flange with the wheelhouse, so it doesn't matter. You can do a lot with that.
But in the front, there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says his
and I'm thinking like a quarter inch rod or something. Yeah.
It's also a coupe to fastback conversion, so not original by any means. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. And, when you talk about the 15-inch tires, or the, big, not really going really big tires, there's a remarkable amount of room under the back of these cars, even without doing the mini tubs. There's actually a lot of room back there. So if you're worried about side-to-side motion, like I've never seen a car, unless you went like to the max, like you put a quarter-inch gap between the wheelhouse and the tire, and then you were out trying to yank and bank and make turns, because there's really not much room for that to move left and right. The leaf springs won't move.
And you're expecting that axle to move up. It would have to move up quite a bit before you'd start rubbing it over there. Yeah.
But I mean, it's worth doing. I mean, save yourself some effort.
More so in the front, I would say, really.
Yeah. Dave Burns says, actually, I mean a low serial number, like the fifth one made or something like that. Yeah, you never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
Dave Tyson back in the day would weld 1-inch conduit to Fender. Yeah.
Yep.
Ricky and my dad told me of a guy in the 60s that was totally blind and his specialty was rebuilding transmissions. That's very feasible. As long as you have it's a muscle memory, it's a finger memory. You can. A lot of people like that. They would learn. Okay, this is this gear. I know by this feel that it's this diameter, and it goes here. So.
and he might
there's
have a
actually a guy
better
that I've
sense.
seen. What's that?
But he might have a better sense of, when you're picking up and inspecting parts, because he can feel stuff, because because you can, just the way your senses work, he's going to
Sure.
be able to feel stuff that you and I can't feel, just because we're looking at it versus feeling it. So you might be able to feel a ridge or a scratch or
Sure.
something that we wouldn't notice.
There's a guy that I've seen on, I don't know, Instagram or something. He's the blind woodworker or something, and it's, we
Mm.
as, uh, if you ever run a lathe or a drill press or whatever, you recognize, hey, this thing can hurt me, right? And this guy is making wood crafts in a shop, and his wife will come out and film him, doing his thing, um, and she'll open up the door and the lights aren't even on. He doesn't even turn the lights on because he's totally blind, and he'll be out there running the
Oh,
lathe, turning stuff and checking it. And it's like, oh my gosh, Now we, as sighted people, we can't fathom going from one to the other without some sort of
hmm
timeline. You'd have to transition yourself into that. But hey, if you can do it, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
hmm
Rick, I wish I kept my 66 with the 200 in it. Dad made me give it away when I bought the C Code 289 car. Knowing what
mm
I know now, I'd have fun building it. Yeah,
mm.
it would have been a good project. If you want to generate views and comments, take a fastback and convert it to a coupe. The comments would be interesting for sure. Yeah, yeah, that would turn some heads.
No, no. Take a coupe, convert it to a convertible, and then to a fastback.
Okay, you could. I mean, the platform's the same, as far as
Yeah,
the underside. So, I mean, a
yeah,
convertible needs more reinforcement, but
yeah,
yeah. Oh, this nuisance.
yeah.
This is Jerry. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, y'all. Oh, a guest. Have a great car chat.
Yeah, she's been gone for about, I don't know, about 2 weeks now. She was up at her mom's, and now she's out at daughter's, which, where I had to change the water pump in the
Yeah.
Volkswagen when I was out there. Speaking of which, this is still the bag of tools that I took out there. I haven't put them away yet. I figure if I don't put them away, that's, it's just,
It won't break again, right? You
yeah,
keep that bag just in case. That's a warranty.
yeah, yeah.
Gerhard. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mr. Peters. Glad you're here. Michael Pagliarini says wagon. Make the Mustang into
Yeah.
take a coupe to convertible to fastback to a wagon. There you go. I get it now.
And at some point, put a truck in there.
Oh yeah, Mustero.
Uh huh.
The Mustero, yeah, yeah. Make
Mm-hmm.
it adaptable. You can pull this off and put this on.
Uh-huh.
TD in 1970, I didn't have to roll my rear fender wells on my fastback to get my L60 tires on, thanks to my hijacker air shocks. Now that is a blast from the past. Yes.
Yeah, this one had the air shocks in it like everybody else's, because well,
Yep.
it wasn't just for the bigger tires, it was the fact that the springs, they didn't take very long before they sagged on these cars.
Yes.
It really didn't take long.
Yep. Jerry says just a week. I get home tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't be too enthused.
yeah.
Rick says, I had a totally blind girlfriend. She would cook in the kitchen without lights. Caught me off guard. I still benefit from the lights, so I found that odd. Yeah, I'll bet. And Jerry says she misses her kitties. Okay. Um, I don't. I don't miss the kitties. We still have
Yeah,
one. We still have one. But she walks in circles. Left
yeah,
turns. Constant left turns. So her
yeah,
time is limited.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so as we were talking about some things, um, I know I mentioned that I had ordered bumper brackets for the Cobra Jet.
hmm
I'm trying to decide, do I paint those or not?
I that is one of the things on the bumper brackets and some other things like that. I've always brought up the thought of want to ask people is like, what do other people do? And I, yeah, I know. And
It
it's
looks
like,
great. It
yep,
really does.
I know.
But I'm struggling with this
Yep.
because this is, I'm assuming EDP coating, right? Um,
I don't know if
I'm
it's that
assuming.
or some kind of powder coating,
I don't think it's powder coating.
or it's just maybe
Powder
just
coating
a,
doesn't come out like this. Has a little
no.
a date or something stamped on it, 2319, like a
And it
little.
could just be a generic black paint that they use that they just,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
I
assuming
really
it's
don't.
EDP coating, because. But the question is, do I paint these? Which I can. It's not that big a deal. But do they need it? This goes back to the idea that the ones that were on the Cobra Jet were literally rusted through,
Yeah.
and they probably didn't have anything on them to begin with. I mean, if they
Yeah.
did, it was
It
just minimal.
doesn't, yeah. And the other thing is, it's not going to be out in the rain. It's not going to be out in the,
Exactly.
it's going to be fine.
It's just
But
like
I still have the issue of is that I'll take it, blast it, and powder coat it, and then put it on the car just because I can.
right.
you know.
But see, in my case, all I would do is scuff this
Hmm.
and just put some paint on it,
Hmm.
just regular paint. But I don't know that it needs it. There's no,
I
there's. I
Yeah.
may wipe it down with some lacquer thinner and see if something comes off.
Hmm.
But if it doesn't, I may just let them go because
I
otherwise it's a
you know
waste of
there's
materials.
there's a few of the pieces that I have that I've kind of like not treated really well and kind of scraped them around and stuff, and
Yeah.
they've held up pretty well. That the stuff hasn't come off or anything, and so I'm like, yeah, it really just leave it.
Yeah.
Because the factory just put just enamel paint on it when whatever supplier made them.
Yep.
They just put there's so much of this stuff. It's not primed. It was never primed. It was just bare steel.
Yeah.
Put some paint on it. Ship it. It's good.
Yep. Travis says the cat's like left turn, like watching NASCAR. He's making another left turn. Yeah, this cat just all night, and she'll go up against the wall and follow the wall, and then take a turn, and then follow the wall, and then take a turn, and come back, and I'll be sitting on the recliner, and she'll just go around my recliner the whole time. So her life is limited at this point. She's probably not gonna last too much longer. TD, don't forget about the 12-inch rear shackles. Yeah, yeah. Put the big shackles on and get the tires underneath it. What they had those um, muscle machines. You know
Yeah.
that the
Yep.
little model cars, but I'm looking at my Camaro one. It's the tires are up under the fender, so it doesn't stick out. They're just big tires. David says don't paint the bracket. And Richard
Yeah.
says,
I agree.
don't paint the brackets. Black
Now,
GTX,
now my it's
scuff
like
and paint. EDP doesn't seem to hold
yeah,
well to UV exposure. I
yeah. But
agree,
it's
but
not
these
going to
are
be
not
out in
going
the
to see
sun.
any.
It's
They
not.
would never
Yeah.
see the sun. Yeah,
Yeah. It is. Now my front brackets, I will paint all those because I want them to match. Because
yeah,
the two inside are originals, and the angle ones are aftermarket, or one of each, one original, one aftermarket. So I'm just going to paint those just so they all match each other.
yeah,
But otherwise, I would just leave them even on mine,
yeah.
had I been using all brand new ones.
Dave Tyson, they look good. Leave them. Hold on a second. C&J. I would powder coat. It's simple. Well, it is if you have the stuff to do it in. I don't have. I'm not going to put my house oven. I can tell you
No,
that.
no,
I
no.
don't
You've had
know.
enough trouble with that oven as it is.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I'll
I put them on there.
yeah.
I think it's fine. It's
It should
fine.
be.
It's like I said. It's we're and I do so many things that are like I want to make sure this is coated and that's coated and that and this and that and it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because it's not something that's I'm trying to do it better than say a factory car would be or something you'd want to drive on the road in certain
Right.
respects like that. And it's like, why? Why?
Right.
Essentially you're gold plating a trailer queen at that point.
Yep. Yeah, because it's not going to see the same life that it had before, and we know,
No.
because we talked about it many times, they so many places that just had bare metal, and it still lived to
Hmm.
be 50, 50 plus years old in
Yeah.
most cases. Not up north, and
Yeah.
but yeah,
But even on mine, there's all that stuff. A lot of the interior stuff is just it's bare steel, and the only
yep,
reason it got painted was because I pulled a panel off and I had the ability to strip it and paint it.
right.
Had I not been able to get to it, it'd be fine for another 50 years or more.
Well, what's funny with that too is the fact that when I restored my grandfather's Model A, that the inside of the doors, we're talking about a car built in 1930, 31. It was a late production 31. So um, there was, they like, I don't know if they just like brushed some tar inside the door. I don't remember. But, when I cleaned it all up,
Hmm.
I got pour 15 in there. I mean, I coated every nook and cranny in that thing because, of course, the metal was a lot thicker back then.
Hmm.
But and you think about it, that car's going to be 100 years old here
Hmm.
in the next 6 years.
Yeah.
It's 94 years old.
Yeah.
Now, it sat its life out in the field for a period of time. It sat in a barn. It sat in my garage, and it just is protected, you know. But it's not going to be exposed to any kind of crazy weather ever
Hmm.
again, you know. So yeah, we
and
tend to
and it'll
overkill
be
it.
technically it should be around for another 100 years, two
Yeah.
hundred
Oh yeah.
years, really,
Yeah.
in being cared for, for an extremely long time.
Yep. Until we convert it to
I mean,
electric
look,
because we're going to run out of gas, right? No oil.
yeah, I mean, look how old the B-52 is, and it's still flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll be 100 years plus by the time they put them out of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just to think of it, that's impressive for an
It
airplane.
is. Tim Miller says Harbor Freight has black that has nice match factory colors. Actually, I have used Harbor Freight's black, and I do like it. There's like one for grill paint, like painting your
It's like
charcoal grill.
spray paint and spray can.
It's a spray can, but it says on it like charcoal grill. Like it's not really meant for, I don't think it's meant for a grill, but it
Uh-huh.
gives you that look, that color, which is very
Hmm.
similar to how this looks. So I have used that. So yeah, good. Thank you, Tim. Good point.
Hmm. I hadn't thought
Okay.
about that.
All right. I'm getting hungry.
I
So
can't sit much longer in this
you look like
chair.
you're getting stiff and
Yeah.
sore there. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I'll let you go. Thanks for being here and
All
being
right.
part of it. So
Yeah, and it's the end for this laptop.
yeah.
It's done.
Okay.
I will see you guys later. Good
See
talking
you.
to you.
Okay. So we've talked about a few things. Let me see what. Hold on. I don't know what you're saying, TJ. The ground and the cat licked the gas and it took off running fast and then stopped. I thought it was dead, but it just ran out of gas. Okay. So it's a joke of some sort that I've only got part of. Richard, has Robert tried acupuncture for his back? I don't know. Well, he's still in the shadows. He's shaking his head. He's in the background saying no. TD, I have seen that type of coating get chalky over the years. That's a good point. So Jerry says, nighters, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to go in the house to get something to eat. But it's been great having everybody here. I plan to be back next Monday at 7 o'clock. Hoping everything goes well. Y'all have a good week. Stay safe out there. And until next time, Take care of yourselves. See ya.